The alarm never rang that morning. Emma Thompson woke up to the pounding of her own heartbeat, the kind that tells you something important is waiting, though you don't know what. Sunlight barely slipped through the cracked blinds of her small apartment, painting the room in faint streaks of gold. Her daughter, Mia, lay curled up in the corner of the bed, hugging a raggedy teddy bear that had seen better days. Emma's life had always been a balancing act, part survival, part hope, all love. 7 years of single motherhood had taught her that every decision mattered, and some decisions could change a life in an instant. Today was one of those days that the interview at Hartwell & Co., a mid-sized firm downtown, was supposed to be her ticket out of the constant uncertainty. Not just for her, but for Mia, a chance at stability, security, and maybe, just maybe, a life where they could breathe without worrying about rent, bills, or whether dinner would be enough. That Emma dressed quickly, sliding into a slightly faded blouse and a skirt that had lost some of its shape over the years. She pulled her hair back, smoothed her wrinkled coat, and looked at her reflection in the cracked bathroom mirror. The woman staring back was tired, yes, but her eyes held a quiet determination, a spark that refused to dim, no matter how many setbacks life had thrown at her. "Mom," Mia's sleepy voice pulled her back. "Are you leaving now?" "Yes, baby, just for a little while. I'll be back before you even know it," Emma said, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's face. "Be good for Mrs. Whitman, okay?" Mia nodded. Though her eyes betrayed a shadow of worry, she had learned over the years that life often demanded sacrifices from the people she loved most. The bus ride to downtown Boston was long, but Emma's mind was focused, rehearsing her answers, imagining herself confidently walking into the office, shaking hands, showing them she was the perfect candidate. She barely noticed the people around her, their faces blurred, as the city moved at its usual hurried pace. And then, in a moment so fleeting it could have been invisible, the world shifted. A squeal of tires, a child's panicked cry. Emma's eyes snapped to the street corner ahead. A small girl, no older than 6 or 7, had lost control of her toy ball. It bounced straight into traffic, and the car speeding down the wet road didn't have a chance to stop in time. Instinct overtook thought. Emma ran, every muscle screamed, but nothing mattered except reaching that child. She dove, arms outstretched, and pulled the girl to the safety of the sidewalk. Just as the car skidded past, missing them by mere inches, the girl looked up at her, eyes wide, trembling, but unharmed. Emma's knees hit the pavement, scraped and bleeding, her skirt torn, heart racing. She clutched the girl tight. "It's okay, you're safe," she whispered, more to herself than to the child. A man ran up moments later, panic written across his face. "Oh my God, my daughter. Are you okay?" Emma nodded, still holding the girl close. "She's fine, but someone needed to act fast. You weren't paying attention." Her words were gentle, but firm. The man's eyes widened, and then he looked at Emma again. Really looked. Thank you so much." "I don't know what I would have done," Emma waved him off, brushing dust from her hands. "Just make sure she knows better next time." It wasn't until later, after the adrenaline faded and the chaos of the morning settled, that Emma realized she had missed her interview. The very opportunity she had hoped would change everything for her and Mia was gone. And yet, despite the fear, the loss, and the uncertainty, a strange feeling settled over her, a quiet pride. She had saved a life in that instant. She realized something life-altering. Some victories can't be measured by job offers or money. They are measured by courage and compassion. What Emma didn't know was that the little girl she had saved that morning wasn't just any child. She was someone whose life carried extraordinary weight, a connection that would pull Emma and Mia into a world of unimaginable possibilities, wealth, opportunity, and challenges they had never dreamed of. Emma sat on the edge of the curb, her palms still stinging from the fall, her dress smeared with dirt and tiny spots of blood. The city's hum felt distant, almost irrelevant, as the adrenaline drained from her body, leaving her hollow and trembling. The little girl clung to her side, her small hand gripping Emma's sleeve like it was a lifeline. Emma looked into the child's eyes wide, teary, yet filled with a quiet trust, and felt a strange, unexplainable pull. The girl's father finally reached them, his face a mixture of panic, relief, and awe. He held out his arms to take his daughter, but she refused, clinging to Emma for just a moment longer. "It's okay, sweetie," Emma whispered softly. "He's your dad. He'll keep you safe now." The man knelt beside them, his eyes searching Emma's face as if trying to memorize every line, every mark of courage and selflessness. I don't know how to thank you," he said, voice catching. "You saved her life." Emma waved him off, brushing at her skirt. "It's nothing. Anyone would have done the same." But even as she said it, a part of her knew that not everyone would have. Fear and hesitation often weigh heavier than courage, and she had chosen action over doubt. As the man helped his daughter to her feet, Emma noticed something she couldn't explain, a glimmer in his eyes, a weight behind his gaze, as though he had seen not just a stranger, but someone extraordinary. "Please," he said finally, in a tone that carried both gratitude and insistence, "allow me to repay you. Let me at least make sure you're okay. Can I get you medical attention?" Emma hesitated. The interview, her opportunity, her plans, but she shook her head. "No, I'm fine, really. It's just a few scratches. I'll manage." The man nodded slowly, a thoughtful expression settling on his face. "I understand. Still, your courage deserves recognition. You have a rare heart." Emma forced a polite smile, thanked him, and began walking away. Dusting herself off, the city carried on around her, oblivious to the small miracle that had just occurred. People passed by, immersed in their own lives, while Emma's world had quietly shifted. She didn't yet know the magnitude, but she would feel it soon enough. Later that day, after cleaning herself up as best as she could, Emma returned home to Mia, who had been waiting anxiously, asking over and over if her mother was okay. She held her daughter close, inhaling the scent of her hair and telling herself that moments like these, the ones that matter, were worth more than any paycheck or job title. Yet the missed interview gnawed at her, a whisper of disappointment that refused to leave. That evening, as she cooked a simple dinner of rice and vegetables, Emma's phone rang. The number was unknown. She hesitated, then answered. Double quotes, "Miss Thompson." The voice on the other end was formal, professional. "This is Jonathan Hayes, legal counsel at Hartwell & Co. We were expecting you for an interview this morning. May I ask why you didn't show?" Emma swallowed hard, unsure how much to reveal. Her first instinct was to say she had been ill, or caught in traffic. But another part of her, a part that no longer wanted to hide her truth, urged her to speak honestly. She took a deep breath and told him everything: the child in the street, the car, how she had acted instinctively to save a life. There was silence on the other end. Then, slowly, Jonathan Hayes spoke. "Miss Thompson, that was incredibly brave. What you did this morning, it wasn't just commendable, it's heroic. We admire that kind of courage in our team." Emma's heart skipped a beat. She expected disappointment, perhaps even a closed door. Instead, she was met with respect and an unexpected warmth. "We'd still like to meet with you," Jonathan continued, "if you're willing. Your actions speak volumes about your character, and in our firm, that matters as much as experience or education." Emma felt a flicker of hope. She hadn't expected this. The universe, in its strange and unpredictable way, had acknowledged her sacrifice. She agreed to reschedule, her mind racing with possibilities. A few days later, the man whose daughter she had saved contacted her again. This time, he was insistent. "Please meet me," he said. "I insist. There is something important I'd like to discuss." Curiosity mingled with caution as Emma agreed, though she didn't know what awaited her. When she arrived at the opulent downtown office, she was unprepared for the grandeur. Marble floors gleamed under soft lighting, and the air carried the faint scent of polished wood and leather. She was shown into a room where the man waited. Alexander Whitman, CEO of one of the largest philanthropic foundations in the city. Emma's stomach tightened. The realization hit slowly, but unmistakably. The little girl she had saved wasn't just any child. She was the daughter of someone powerful, influential, and immensely wealthy. And now, the weight of that encounter was about to alter Emma's life in ways she had never imagined. Alexander Whitman's gaze was steady and intense, but kind. "Miss Thompson," he began, "I don't often find people with the courage you showed that day. I want to offer you an opportunity not just for employment, but for a future that honors your bravery and integrity." Emma's hands trembled. Slightly, she thought of Mia, of all the nights they had struggled, the moments of worry and hunger, the endless balancing of work and care. And now, here was a chance, not just a job, but the possibility of a life where they could breathe freely, without fear. Alexander continued, outlining a position within his philanthropic organization, one that involved shaping programs to help children and families in need. "Your experience as a single mother, your compassion, and your courage are exactly what we need. You have the chance to make a difference on a much larger scale, and I believe you are ready for it." Emma felt a mixture of disbelief and awe. The events of that morning, the choice to act without hesitation, to put another's life above her own ambitions, had set into motion a chain of possibilities she could never have planned. In saving a child, she had unknowingly opened the door to a life that once seemed unreachable. As she left the office, a soft rain began to fall, washing the city in silver light. Emma held her coat tighter, thinking of Mia, of the journey that had brought them here, and of the truth she now understood. Courage has a way of coming full circle. When you act selflessly, even in the smallest of moments, the universe has a way of noticing and rewarding you in ways that no one could ever predict. That night, as she tucked Mia into bed, Emma whispered a promise she had never needed to voice before. "We're going to be okay. Sweetheart, more than okay. Something amazing is coming for us." And deep inside, she believed it. She had no idea yet just how extraordinary the next chapter would be, but for the first time in years, she felt ready. Emma couldn't sleep that night. Her mind replayed the events over and over: the street, the car, the little girl's frightened eyes, and Alexander Whitman's words. It all felt surreal, like she had stepped into someone else's life, a life far removed from the cramped apartment, the long shifts, and the endless struggle to keep her daughter fed and happy. Morning arrived, with the gentle hum of the city waking up, but Emma's heart raced. She sat at the small kitchen table, staring at her untouched cup of coffee, trying to organize her thoughts. The opportunity Alexander had offered wasn't just a job, it was a lifeline, a bridge to a future she hadn't dared to imagine. Yet, with it came uncertainty. Could she step into this world of wealth and influence? Could she navigate a life so different from the one she had fought for all these years? Mia's sleepy face peeked around the corner, holding her teddy bear tightly. "Mommy, are we going somewhere special today?" she asked, her voice a mixture of curiosity and hope. Emma smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's forehead. "Yes, baby. Something very special," she said, trying to match her excitement to the tiny spark in Mia's eyes. They left their modest apartment hand in hand, stepping into the crisp morning air. The streets seemed different now, brighter somehow, as if the city itself recognized that change had touched their lives. Emma's thoughts drifted to the little girl she had saved. She couldn't help but wonder what her life had been like, what challenges she faced, and how fate had brought them together in that fleeting, life-altering moment. When they arrived at the Whitman Foundation, Emma was greeted with an elegance she had never known: polished marble floors, high ceilings, and walls adorned with framed photographs of children and families touched by the foundation's work. The air was quiet but alive with purpose, a subtle energy that made her pulse quicken. Alexander Whitman emerged from an office, smiling warmly. "Emma, I'm glad you're here," he said, extending his hand. "And this must be Mia." Mia hesitated for only a moment before stepping forward and offering a small, shy handshake. Alexander's eyes softened. "It's a pleasure to meet you, young lady. Your mother is very brave." Emma felt a lump in her throat. This wasn't just about a career anymore, it was about showing her daughter what courage and kindness could bring into the world. She realized, with a mix of awe and humility, that the choice she had made in a split second to run into danger for a stranger was now shaping not only her own life but Mia's future as well. Alexander led them into a conference room, where he began to explain the programs the foundation ran. "We focus on providing opportunities for children and families who are struggling, just like your own family has at times," he said, glancing at Emma. "Your perspective, your experience as a mother who has faced hardship, is invaluable. I want you to help shape these programs to guide us on how we can truly make a difference." Emma listened, feeling both nervous and inspired. She thought of every long night, every skipped meal, every moment of fear and hope. All of it had led to this opportunity to transform not just her life, but the lives of countless families who needed someone who truly understood their struggles. Over the next few weeks, Emma began to immerse herself in the work of the foundation. She met with social workers, program coordinators, and volunteers, each of them passionate about helping children and families find stability and hope. Emma's insights were welcomed with respect and gratitude. She suggested practical changes, small adjustments that could make the programs more accessible, more effective, and more personal. And each time she spoke, she felt a surge of confidence she hadn't known she possessed. But even as her professional life flourished, Emma didn't lose sight of Mia. She made sure to spend quality time with her daughter, taking her to parks, reading bedtime stories, and teaching her the lessons that courage and compassion could create real change. Mia thrived in this new environment, blossoming into a confident, joyful child who understood that the world could be both kind and inspiring. One afternoon, while reviewing plans for a new initiative, Emma received a call from Alexander. "Emma," he said, "I think it's time you meet the girl again, the one you saved. I believe you to have more in common than you realize, and there's something I want you to understand about her." Curiosity and a slight nervousness gripped her. She hadn't expected this, she agreed, not knowing what awaited her, and later that day found herself standing outside a beautifully decorated private school, where the little girl, Sophia, waited. When Sophia saw Emma, her face lit up, a mix of recognition and gratitude. "You saved me," she whispered, clutching her backpack tightly. I never forgot." Emma knelt down, meeting her gaze. "And I never forgot you either," she said softly. "I'm glad you're safe." Alexander approached, his expression serious but kind. "Emma, you need to know the truth. Sophia is my daughter. Her life could have been in danger that day. You didn't just save a child, you saved my daughter. And that act of courage has shown me the kind of person I want, influencing the lives of children everywhere, starting with my own." Emma felt a surge of emotion she could barely contain. The girl she had saved, the daughter of a man whose influence stretched across the city, now connected her life to a future she had only dreamed about. Her selfless act, one that she had thought of as simply doing the right thing, had opened doors she never imagined. That evening, as Emma walked home with Mia, she reflected on the extraordinary chain of events. One act of bravery, one moment of instinct, had transformed everything. It wasn't wealth, connections, or luck that had brought this change. It was courage, kindness, and the willingness to put another's life before her own. Emma realized that life's true value isn't measured by achievements, titles, or money, but by the choices we make, the risks we take for others, and the impact we leave behind. That night, as Mia drifted off to sleep, Emma whispered once again, "We are ready for whatever comes next," and for the first time, she truly believed it. Little did she know, the next chapter of their journey would challenge them in ways they never expected, testing not just their courage but their hearts, and ultimately revealing the extraordinary power of selflessness, love, and the human spirit. The next morning, Emma awoke with a strange mixture of excitement and unease. Her life had changed so drastically in the past few weeks that the ordinary routines of breakfast and school drop-offs now felt like fragments of a distant memory. Mia was already up, humming softly as she carefully tied the laces of her shoes, her little face bright with anticipation. "Mom, are we going today?" Mia asked, bouncing slightly on her toes. Emma smiled, smoothing her daughter's hair. "Yes, baby. Today is special." They arrived at the Whitman Foundation, where Alexander greeted them with a warm smile. "Emma, Mia, welcome," he said. "I have something I'd like to show you, something that I believe will change your perspective on how much one person's actions can influence the world." Curiosity pricked at Emma's heart. She followed Alexander through long corridors, lined with photographs of children, families, and community events. The foundation was larger than she had imagined, a place where hope seemed to breathe from every wall. Finally, they entered a room that overlooked a wide, sunlit playground. Children laughed and ran freely, some in the midst of structured activities, others simply playing games of their own making. But one little girl immediately caught Emma's attention. Sophia, the same girl she had saved weeks ago, the same girl whose small hand had clung to hers in the street. But now, there was a difference. She was confident, laughing freely, interacting with other children as if the fear Emma had seen in her eyes had been replaced entirely by trust and joy. Emma felt a lump in her throat. "She's thriving," she whispered. Alexander nodded. "Because of people like you, courage has a ripple effect, Emma. One act of selflessness can create a wave that transforms countless lives. Sophia's confidence, her safety, her happiness, they all stem from your choice." Emma tried to speak, but the weight of the moment made her pause. She realized that this wasn't about recognition or reward. It was about understanding that one act of bravery, one selfless decision, could change the trajectory of a life, or even many lives. Alexander led them to a conference table where other staff members had gathered. "Emma, I'd like you to meet the team. Starting today, you'll be working closely with us to develop programs that help children and families in need. Your experience, your insight, and your perspective as a mother will be invaluable." The introductions went smoothly, but Emma noticed something subtle. Every person she met seemed genuinely inspired by her presence. They didn't see just another employee, they saw someone who had lived the challenges they were trying to address, someone whose courage had proven the difference a single person could make. Later, as she worked with the team, Emma realized that this was more than just a job. It was a calling. She poured her heart into every detail, from creating new mentorship programs to organizing community events, always keeping in mind the lessons she had learned on the streets of Boston. Courage, quick thinking, and putting others first could save lives in ways that went beyond expectation. One afternoon, during a planning session, Alexander pulled Emma aside. "Emma, there's something else I want you to understand about Sophia and about this foundation," he said, his tone serious but kind. "Sophia's life was in danger that day because of circumstances beyond her control. You stepped in, acting without hesitation, and saved her. That act revealed to me the kind of heart I want shaping the lives of children everywhere. I want you to know that your role here is not just employment, it's stewardship. You have the power to influence lives in ways you may not even realize yet." Emma felt a surge of pride, but it was mixed with something deeper, a responsibility she hadn't anticipated. Her choices mattered now on a scale far beyond her own family, and for the first time, she truly understood that courage was not just about facing immediate danger. It was about making decisions with consequences that could ripple far into the future. The days turned into weeks, and Emma found herself increasingly immersed in the work. She traveled to schools, visited families in need, and coordinated programs designed to give children safe spaces to grow and learn. And all the while, Mia thrived alongside her mother, learning the values of compassion, bravery, and resilience firsthand. One afternoon, as Emma watched Sophia lead a group of younger children in a game, she realized something profound. The little girl she had saved was now inspiring others, just as Emma's actions had inspired her. The ripple effect of courage, Emma understood, was far more powerful than she had ever imagined. That evening, as they walked home, Emma held Mia's hand tightly. "Baby, do you know what we learned today?" she asked gently. Mia shook her head, eyes wide with curiosity. "That even the smallest act of courage can change the world. One person's choice can make someone else safe, happy, and confident, and sometimes it can create waves that touch countless lives." Mia smiled, her tiny hand squeezing Emma's. "Like a superhero?" she asked. Emma laughed softly, brushing a lock of hair from her daughter's face. "Yes, like a superhero. And the best part is, you don't need a cape to be one. All it takes is kindness, courage, and the willingness to act when it matters most." As they reached their apartment, Emma felt a quiet sense of fulfillment. The city lights sparkled around them, but inside, a different light had been ignited, a light of purpose, of courage, and of hope. She knew challenges would come, but for the first time in years, she felt prepared, confident, and ready to face whatever the future held. And deep down, she understood that this was only the beginning. The next chapter would test them in ways unimaginable, but it would also reveal the extraordinary strength of the human heart and the true power of selfless action. Emma's mornings had begun to carry a new rhythm, one filled with purpose and anticipation. No longer was she just a mother trying to survive. She was someone who could make a real difference, someone whose actions resonated far beyond her immediate life. And yet, despite the excitement of her new role, a quiet tension lingered beneath the surface. She couldn't shake the thought that life's tests were never truly over. Courage, she had learned, often demanded repetition, and sometimes the challenges came in ways one could never anticipate. That day, Alexander asked Emma to accompany him to a community meeting in a neighborhood several miles from downtown. The initiative was designed to provide resources for children at risk, focusing on mentorship, education, and safe spaces. Emma felt a flutter of nervousness. She had visited communities before, but this one had been particularly difficult, a place where families struggled with financial instability, where hope had been scarce for years. As they walked through the streets, Emma's eyes took in the worn buildings, the faded playground equipment, and the children playing in uneven patches of asphalt. It was a stark reminder that life's challenges were not evenly distributed, and yet, she also saw resilience, children laughing despite scarcity, neighbors greeting each other with small acts of kindness, and teachers and volunteers working tirelessly to create moments of normalcy amid the difficulties. The meeting began, and Emma found herself speaking alongside Alexander. She shared her own story not as a tale of hardship, but as an example of what courage and selflessness could achieve. She told the room about the morning she had saved Sophia, the little girl whose life had hung in the balance, and how that moment had ultimately opened doors she had never imagined. The room was silent as she spoke, eyes fixed on her, faces reflecting awe, admiration, and recognition. For the first time, Emma felt the weight of her own story not as a burden, but as a gift. Every hardship she had endured, every long night and missed opportunity, had prepared her for this moment, allowing her to connect with people in ways that words alone could not. When the meeting concluded, a woman approached Emma, her eyes glistening. "I don't know how to thank you," she said. "Hearing your story, it gives me hope. You've reminded us that courage matters, that one person can change so much." Emma smiled softly, her heart swelling. "You all already have that courage," she replied. "I just happened to act when it counted. But every one of you has the power to make a difference in someone's life." As they drove back to the foundation, Alexander turned to her. "Emma, you've done more than I could have imagined. Sophia is thriving, the programs are gaining traction, and families are finding support in ways that seemed impossible a month ago. Your influence is growing faster than I anticipated." Emma nodded, humbled by his words. Yet a quiet anxiety lingered. She understood that responsibility often carried pressure, and that even the most noble intentions could encounter obstacles, and she would face them soon enough. Later that week, a situation arose that tested everything Emma had learned about courage and quick thinking. A young boy in one of the programs had gone missing. During an outdoor activity, panic spread among the staff, but Emma's instincts kicked in immediately. She coordinated search efforts, calmly directing volunteers and staff, her voice steady despite the fear that gripped her chest. After what felt like hours, she found the boy near a busy street, frozen and terrified, unsure of how to return to the group. Emma knelt beside him, speaking softly, reassuringly, until he felt safe enough to follow her back. The relief in his eyes mirrored the relief Emma had felt months ago, when she had pulled Sophia from danger. It was a vivid reminder that courage was not a single act, it was a continual choice, made moment by moment, in situations both big and small. That evening, Emma returned home, exhausted but alive with the knowledge that her actions had saved yet another life. Mia greeted her with a bright smile and a hug that melted away all the fatigue and worry. "Mommy, you're my hero," she whispered. Emma held her daughter close, realizing that true heroism wasn't measured by fame or wealth. It was measured by the choices one made when faced with fear, by the willingness to act selflessly, and by the love one carried in the heart. Over the following days, the foundation's influence expanded rapidly. Emma's programs began to attract attention from local media and other philanthropic organizations. Eager to learn from her insight and perspective, every new initiative, every life touched, was a testament to the ripple effect of courage, starting from one simple decision to act one morning in Boston that had changed everything. Yet amidst the growth and success, Emma remained grounded. She knew that challenges were inevitable, that setbacks would come, and that courage required constant nurturing. She also knew that she had been given a rare gift, the chance to demonstrate to her daughter and to the world that integrity, bravery, and compassion were powerful tools capable of shaping lives. One quiet evening, as Emma sat by the window watching the city lights twinkle in the distance, she reflected on the journey that had brought her here. From a small apartment and a missed interview to saving a life and stepping into a world she had never imagined, she felt a profound gratitude for every twist of fate, every act of bravery that had guided her path. Her phone buzzed with a message. From Alexander: "We have an opportunity to expand the Foundation's reach internationally. Are you ready for the next step?" Emma stared at the message, her heart pounding. She thought of Mia, of Sophia, of every child whose life could be changed. And she realized that courage wasn't just about responding to immediate danger, it was about embracing opportunities that could create lasting impact. With a deep breath, she replied, "Yes, let's do it." That night, as she tucked Mia into bed, Emma whispered a promise once again: "We're ready, baby. Whatever comes next, we face it together." And deep inside, she knew that their journey was far from over. The lessons of courage, selflessness, and compassion were only just beginning to unfold, and the world they would touch and the lives they would change were limited only by their willingness to act and to believe in the extraordinary power of love and bravery. The following weeks were a whirlwind for Emma. The Foundation's projects were expanding, reaching neighborhoods and communities she had only ever read about in reports or imagined in dreams. Every day brought new challenges, but also new triumphs, small victories that reminded her of why she had chosen this path. And through it all, Mia remained her constant companion, a bright light in a world that sometimes seemed heavy and overwhelming. One morning, as Emma reviewed the plans for an international outreach initiative, Alexander approached her with a calm but serious expression. "Emma," he said, "I think it's time you understand the full impact of what you've done. Not just with Sophia, not just within the Foundation, but the way your courage has inspired people far beyond what you might realize." Emma looked up, curiosity and apprehension mingling in her chest. Alexander handed her a thick folder. Inside were letters, photographs, and testimonials from families whose lives had been touched by the programs she had helped design. Children who were now attending school regularly, mothers who had found steady employment, communities that had regained hope after years of struggle. Each story, each face, was a testament to the ripple effect that one courageous decision could create. Emma felt a lump in her throat. She had acted that day in the street to save Sophia because it was the right thing to do. She had never imagined that a single act of bravery could spark change on such a massive scale. Yet here it was, tangible and undeniable. Her heart swelled with a mixture of pride, humility, and awe. Later that afternoon, Emma and Mia visited Sophia at her school. The moment Sophia saw Emma, her face lit up with a joy that could not be contained. She ran to Emma, wrapping her arms tightly around her in a hug that spoke volumes. "I've missed you," Sophia whispered. "You saved me, and now you're part of my life in a way I never imagined." Emma hugged her back, feeling the weight of the years of struggle and sacrifice dissolve in the warmth of that embrace. She realized that the bond formed in a moment of danger had grown into something enduring and transformative, a connection that would continue to shape both their lives for years to come. As they walked home together, Mia skipped alongside them, her laughter ringing through the streets. Emma watched her daughter, marveling at the way children's resilience and joy could illuminate even the darkest corners of the world. She understood that courage was not always measured in grand gestures. Often, it was reflected in the quiet persistence of showing up, caring deeply, and choosing to act when it mattered most. That evening, Emma reflected on the journey that had brought her here from the small apartment she had once called home. to the street where she had saved Sophia, to the foundation that now allowed her to touch countless lives. Every challenge, every sacrifice had led her to this moment, and she realized something profound. Life's true power did not lie in wealth, opportunity, or recognition. It lay in the choices we make, the courage we summon, and the love we extend to others without expecting anything in return. In the following months, Emma's life continued to flourish in ways she had never imagined. The Foundation's programs expanded internationally, reaching children and families across continents. Emma's voice became a source of guidance and inspiration, not just within the organization, but for communities around the world who had heard her story and were motivated to act. Yet through all the accolades, the media attention, and the growth of the foundation, Emma remained grounded. She knew that every life she touched, every child she helped, was not a measure of her worth but a reflection of the choices she had made, the bravery she had shown, and the compassion she had refused to withhold. One evening, as she sat by the window, watching the city lights twinkle like distant stars, Mia climbed onto her lap, holding her teddy bear tightly. "Mommy," she whispered, "you're my hero. You always know what's right." Emma hugged her daughter close, tears welling in her eyes. "No, baby, we're heroes together. Courage isn't about doing one big thing, it's about doing what's right over and over, even when it's hard. And love is what makes us brave." The next morning, Emma received a call from Alexander. "Emma," he said, voice brimming with pride, "the board has approved a new initiative. We want you to lead it. It will impact thousands more children and families. Are you ready?" Emma looked out the window at the rising sun, feeling the warmth on her face and the quiet strength within her heart. She thought of Mia, of Sophia, of every life that could be changed by courage and compassion. She knew that challenges would come, that obstacles would test her resolve. But she also knew this: one act of bravery could ignite a lifetime of hope. "Yes," she said, her voice steady and filled with conviction. "I'm ready." And with that, Emma stepped forward into a future she had once only dreamed of, a future built not on luck or circumstance, but on courage, love, and the unwavering belief that even the smallest actions can create extraordinary change. That day, and every day after, Emma carried with her the lesson that had transformed her life. When we act selflessly, when we choose courage over fear, and when we open our hearts to others, we don't just save lives, we change the world. And sometimes, in the process, we discover a strength within ourselves that we never knew existed. As she held Mia's hand and walked toward the foundation, Emma knew that their story was far from over. The world was full of challenges, of children who needed guidance, families in need, and moments where courage would demand action. But Emma also knew that together, they could meet those challenges, and that love, bravery, and compassion would always light the way. And for the first time in her life, Emma understood completely. She didn't just survive, she thrived, she inspired, and she changed the world, one courageous choice at a time.